Hi everyone, it is Sylvan from Sylvan's Way. As a tarot collector and a spooky season fanatic, I had to review this deck. And wow, it is a monster mash of nostalgia and symbolism. Let's dive into the Universal Monsters Tarot. So of course it comes in this nice two-part box, and I love that it's kind of a matte, but then it has like the gold gilding on it. So it's a really nice box. Oh, and did I mention it is by Insight Editions? On the back of it, it says that it includes a fully illustrated 78 card deck. Now, it says fully illustrated, though I do think this deck is kind of pippish. You'll see when we get into the cards. And then it has a 128 page guidebook. And then it says the most famous movie monsters of all time have emerged from the shadows to guide your tarot readings in this ghastly take on the traditional tarot deck, featuring stunning original artwork inspired by classic tarot iconography. The 78 deck has spine-chilling imagery and themes from legendary Universal Picture monster films, including such iconic characters as Frankenstein's monster, Count Dracula, the Wolfman, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Phantom of the Opera, and more. So it's really fantastic. Now, when we open it up, the inside of it, it's super fun. The inside of the box, it looks like a coffin. Look at that. It looks like a coffin. Isn't that great? And it does have this nice string. What I like about it, it allows you to set your cards in it, then fold it over once, and then put your guidebook on top of it. So it pops out the guidebook, and then you pull again, and it brings out the cards. So I kind of like that the string is longer. I like it when they do that. So that is the box. And then these are the cards, and we'll look at that in a second. And then let's look at the guidebook. Now this is, I think it's at 128 pages, and it is a fully illustrated color guidebook here that we have. So it's really, really nice. It's not too big, so which is also nice. So we have the contents, the major arcana, the minor arcana, and then information about doing readings on your deck. Using your deck. So it's got a couple of readings in the back. One thing I want to point out that's not normal, the major arcana, I think the names are all the same, but when we get into the minor arcana, it has been renamed. So candles are wands, crypts are cups, claws are swords, and castles are pentacles. So the way I associate that is candles are wands because they could be lit on fire. Crypts are cups because you can keep things in it. You can pour stuff into it. Claws are sharp and pointy like swords. And then castles are, materialistic, things. So, that's going to be pentacles. So for me, having a change in the minor arcana names didn't bother me at all, that they were slightly different. Bidding you welcome. And you'll notice that there is a little tongue-in-cheek as far as the writing of this guidebook, which I really enjoy. Because let me read this to you, because you'll see what I'm saying. The guidebook offers each card's meaning in both upright and reversed positions relative to the subject of the reading. Before you embark on a reading, take some time to lay your cards on the slab and examine them with a critical eye, preferably yours, not one you've pulled from a corpse looking at you, Dr. Frankenstein. So that's what I mean. It's a little tongue in cheek. It's very, it's fun. It's definitely fun. And then it goes into the cards themselves. So the major arcana, it gives you an image of the card, the name of the card, a little blurb about it, and then it gives you the upright and reverse meaning. And in each one of the cards, it does tell you what the character is. So this is Frankenstein's monster. Then we have Frankenstein himself, Dr. Frankenstein. So it does tell you what the cards are in each of the descriptions. When we get into the minor arcana, they're only a single page. They're not a bubble page. They made the picture smaller, but you still get the upright and reverse, so in the light and in the shadow, and it does tell you who this person is. So, which is nice. So there's not a ton of information, but it is enough information in there. Then when we get back to the back of the guidebook, we have tarot readings. We have caring for your deck, preparing to read the tarot, and then we have a couple of spreads. So of course we have to have a Van Helsing's cross. We have the Wolf's Moon, and the Monster Lives, and then a little bit about the illustrator and the author. So that is the guidebook. So I think it's just enough, not too much, but just enough to wet your whistle, so to speak. Okay, next let's look at the cards. The cards. Now, this cardstock is the normal cardstock size as far as 70 by 120, but it is a little thicker. So you'll notice that the deck is a little thicker, but I do find that I can shuffle it. So this is the cardstock, and it's kind of a nice soft buttery kind of feel, almost not quite buttery, but it's a nice matte finish on the cardstock. The colors in it are kind of like this muted earthy tones throughout the deck, which really of course lends it to spooky time. So, and the artwork itself is very like nostalgic, I would say more like it's like a storyboard kind of artwork, almost kind of like the old, you know, those old posters that would come out about the movies. So that it's kind of the same artwork that they've made this with. And each one of the cards has this really cool looking like border with the name of the card on it. So all the way through it, it's got the name at the bottom. It doesn't have any gilding, which is totally fine. And then these are the backs, and of course it can be reversible. So that is the cards themselves. Let's take a look at these images. So we have Frankenstein himself, that is the Fool. Of course he's the Fool. And then for the Magician, I mean, who else? Who else other than Dr. Frankenstein himself? He's got all those tools, all those resources, and he actually created something from it. He manifested something. So perfect for the magician. And then we have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is, I forget her name, but it's the girl from Phantom of the Opera. You can kind of see the Phantom in the background there. And then the Empress, of course, is Frankenstein's bride. Frankenstein's bride. Look at her. I think that this is my favorite picture in the entire deck. And then the Emperor, of course, is going to be Dracula himself. I like that little bat that's up there in the corner. The Hierophant of Van Helsing. Who else other than Van Helsing? And then the Lovers. I forget who these, I think these are the lovers in the Phantom. Yeah, it's the Phantom of the Opera, because see the water? So it's like they're in the underground from the Phantom of the Opera. So those two characters from the Phantom of the Opera. And then the Chariot is the Wolfman. Of course it's the Wolfman, right? Of course it's the Wolfman, because he's transforming. He's taking the, having that strength, that control, being able to direct and not being able to direct. So, is it the Wolfman or is it the, So if you know, you know. Strength, I'm not sure who this guy is. I think I remember reading in the guidebook that this was the guy from the Invisible Man. So he's the guy that's either helped the Invisible Man become the Invisible Man, or he is petitioning for the Invisible Man. So that's strength. Of course, the Phantom of the Opera is the Hermit. Totally makes sense. Love that they included the lantern here on his boat. And the Wheel of Fortune. That is the Invisible Man. Justice. The Hanged Man is the, is this the, oh my gosh, Swamp Man. He's like, it's not Swamp Man. Oh my gosh. What is his name? Oh my gosh, what is his name? Well, if you know, put it in the comments below. Death. I think that's the Mummy. Temperance. I think that's the Wolfman before he changes into the Wolfman. The Devil. This is the Dracula's brides. That's the Dracula's brides, the Devil. The Tower. This is where Frankenstein goes and runs. And then, of course, the village burns it down there. The Star. I think this is Dracula, the girl that Dracula is always chasing after. That's who I think that is. And then the Moon, the Wolfman again for the Moon. Perfect, 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 perfect. The Sun, I have no idea. No idea who that is. Judgment, I think it's the Mummy's bride, but I forget her name too. And then the World, of course, you know. I think this, the way I would look at this is like, you know, getting away. Getting in the plane and getting away. From the bad situation. And then we start into the suits and the candles. Remember, the candles is the wands. So we have the Ace of Wands, the Two of or the Ace of Candles, Two of Candles, Three of Candles, and I think each one of these corresponds to something in the movie, but I'm not positive about what they are, so that's why I'm not telling you. So we have the Four of Candles, the Five of Candles. I think that must be chandeliers from Phantom of the Opera, if I were to guess. Six of Candles, Seven of Candles, Eight of Candles. I bet you anything that's Frankenstein right there. And a Nine of Candles, 10 of Candles. That's actually really pretty. And then, whoops, grabbed this one. We have the Page of Candles, Knight of Candles, Queen of Candles, and King of Candles. Then we have Crypts. So these are the cups. And so that looks like, to me, Dracula coming out of his casket. Two of Crypts, Three of Crypts, Four of Crypts. Look at that. It is locked and boarded up. Whatever's in there is not coming out, but I bet you it can still get out. And Five of Crypts, Six of Crypts, Seven of Crypts, Eight of Crypts. No, I'm seven. Where's eight? Oh my gosh. I'm like, I had to count it out. That is Eight of Crypts. Nine of Crypts and 10 of Crypts. Page of Crypts. Knight of Crypts. Queen of Crypts. King of Crypts. And then we're into the claws. So the claws, remember, are swords. So Ace of Claws. Two of Claws. I was going to say, if any of these, out of all of these suits, this is my favorite one because I love all of the hands with the different claws. So Three of Claws, Four of Claws, Five of Claws, Six of Claws, Seven of Claws. The Invisible Man, look at it. Like, so his wrappings are coming off and you can't see. Eight of Claws, Nine of Claws. There is definitely the Phantom. And then 10 of Claws, the Wolfman. Page of Claws, Knight of Claws, Queen of Claws, and King of Claws is Van Helsing. And then lastly, we have our castles, which are pentacles. We have Ace of Castles, Two of Castles, Three of Castles as armadillos are hysterical, Four of Castles, Five of Castles, Six of Castles, 7 of castles, 8 of castles. This is when he's trying to get out of Dracula's castle. Look at that. See, so 9 of castles and 10 of castles. Then lastly, we have our page of castles, our knight of castles, queen of castles, and king of castles. So I really love these cards. Let's shuffle them. Let's see how they shuffle. Now this is a new deck for me, and these cards are a little thicker, so they're hard to riffle because they're thicker, but the cardstock definitely feels like that kind of cardstock that after you've used it a bunch, it will break in over time and become shuffleable, if that's a word. But it's definitely difficult to shuffle them when you're first starting out. Overhand shuffle might be the better way to go with this. Yeah. Let's try a waterfall. Kind of chunky, kind of the same as overhand, isn't it? So that is shuffling. A little difficult to shuffle. Okay, let's see how they spread. Not the greatest. We'll do it one more time, just in case my thumb was not catching it appropriately. No. Not the best. Okay, let's choose a card to read from. The Fool, of course. Of course it's the Fool. Okay, let's read the Fool. Venture into the world like it's your very first time, even if some of your parts have seen better days. See, that's where I'm talking about the cheekiness. It's fun. It's a fun deck. Upright, with an electrifying start, Frankenstein's monster brings innocence, curiosity, and wonder to the beginning of his journey. Take the same approach for whatever you find yourself embarking on, and you're sure to have an electric adventure. Again, that's the funny cheekiness reversed. Before you shamble out into the sunlight, make sure you've got everything in order. Any missing information, murky details, or unclear directions will put your bolts in a twist. Isn't that fun? I mean, it's cute. It's cute. Come on. You have to admit, it's super duper cute. So, my take on this deck. Now, I haven't used this yet. This is relatively new to me, but from reading, doing some shuffle reading, doing a little research on it, what I would say is that this deck is a must-have for like the universal horror fans and people. And I mean, even just as a display, it'd be a great deck display, Halloween collection, anything like that. And it's definitely going to be fun for themed like events. Because wouldn't it be fun to do a scary movie night and then do a reading like from this after watching one of these movies? Wouldn't that be fun? As far as like as a reader, so that's as a collector. Now, as a reader, I feel like it is fully functional. It's not just novelty. You just have to like, because a lot of the symbolism does seem to align well with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. You just have to get used to the changes in the cards, for the suits. You just have to get used to that. If you don't like theme decks or non-full color art, like if you don't like more pippish type suits, then this probably isn't going to be a deck for you. Overall, I feel like the Universal Monsters Tarot is like a fantastic blend of nostalgia and symbolism. So whether you're a horror buff or a collector or just looking for a deck to set like that Halloween mood, this delivers a chillingly good time. So I'm wondering, which Universal Monster would you want to be as your tarot archetype? Let me know in the comments. So, which universal monster would you want as your tarot archetype? Put it in the comments. I would love to hear about that because I do love to talk about these decks. So, if you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and ring the bell so you get notifications so that you don't miss out on any other spooky season deck reviews that I do. I do also do quick flip throughs of the deck if you look at the shorts, if you're just looking for something like that too. So until next time, I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks. Bye.